Hi everyone, this is Sultan with Rex Theme, and in this video I'll show you how you can generate a product feed to upload your WooCommerce products on Bonanza marketplace. So let's get started. You see, Bonanza is one of the largest marketplaces for selling clothing and apparel products along with many other products. Okay, and if you are selling in USA or any country outside USA, you can always take advantage of the large marketplace because it has millions of users, and most WooCommerce owners nowadays are planning to promote their products on Bonanza because it has shown great results for the ones who are already doing it. And in this video, I'm going to show you how you can upload your WooCommerce products into Bonanza so that you can take advantage of that marketplace and probably get a lot more sales than what you're getting right now. Now, Bonanza has their own format in which you need to submit the product feed. Basically, they accept a CSV file with your product data. Let me just show you what data you need to submit to be accepted on Bonanza. So this is basically the instructions from Bonanza. You need to primarily submit the product ID, the title, the description, the product quantity, the category, the price, and images for the product. Other than that, you can submit many more attributes to make this product feed more optimized to attract more buyers. Okay. Now, this category that you're looking at is not actually the category of your WooCommerce store. This category is actually referring to Bonanza categories. You see, Bonanza have their own set of categories that you need to submit for each product. Let me just show you. So what you're looking at is basically the full category list of Bonanza. So let's say if you're selling card games in your online store, then that probably falls under toys. Now, in your store, you might have a category called card games, but Bonanza doesn't have any specific category called card games. Rather, they might have some other name to it. So what you can do is you can look for a relevant category in Bonanza. Let me just search by card games. And once I do, you can see it has shown me a lot of categories that are available where you can qualify your card games into for Bonanza. So I would actually go for this one, toys and hobbies, collectible card games, and the product ID for this category is going to be this one, 2536. So you can use that as the product ID for that particular product, which is the card games, right? So depending on what product you're selling, you have to choose the correct category ID and submit that as the category for the product in your product feed. Okay. Now, this is actually not that difficult. You might think, oh no, do I have to change my categories in my store? No, you don't have to do that. Basically, our plugin comes with a feature called category mapping, with which you can actually map your existing categories to be listed as these categories in the product feed, which means you don't have to literally change the categories in your WooCommerce store. You'll just indicate what categories they will be replaced with in the product feed. Okay, so let me just show you how all that works. As you can see, I already have the plugin Product Feed Manager for WooCommerce installed and activated. Once you install and activate it, you'll find this menu called Product Feed on your dashboard menus. Okay, and right now I'm in the settings page for the plugin. So initially, to generate product feed for Bonanza, you need to activate Bonanza as a merchant type for feed generation. Let me just quickly show you how you do that. Go to the settings of Product Feed Manager and click on the Merchants tab. Once you're on the Merchants tabs here, you need to look for Bonanza. So what I do is I use Command F to look for it. If you're in Windows, you'll be looking to use Control F. So let me just type Bonanza. And there we go. So this is Bonanza. What you do is you click over here to enable this and wait for 2 seconds. And now your Bonanza merchant type is enabled. The next thing to do is scroll up and go to the Controls tab, and here click on Purge Cache. And that's it. Now you're ready to generate the product feed. So let me just click on Add New Feed to start generating a new product feed. So it will take you to this page where you create a brand new product feed. Let me just name it Bonanza Feed. Okay. Now here, initially you'll see there are several features that you can configure if you want to. This is basically the option to choose what products you want to include in the feed. If you want to include all the products, choose all published products. If you want to filter out certain products, use one of the filters below. Okay, let me just keep it to all published products for now. The refresh interval basically determines how frequently your feed file will be updated with any changes you make on your WooCommerce store. So let's say you generated the feed now, and after 1 hour you changed a certain description of a product. Now what you can do is, if you have a refresh interval enabled for hourly, then 1 hour later this feed will automatically collect that updated data. Okay, so for now let me just keep to no interval. And now the rest of the options here are basically already configured. You don't have to make any changes with that. So I'm just going to leave it as that. Now if you scroll down, you'll see this section called feed configuration, and the first option is merchant type. So first click over here and you'll see that there is Bonanza as one of the options. So click on Bonanza, and once you do, you'll see that all the required attributes for Bonanza has appeared below. Now as I mentioned before, Bonanza accepts feed in the format of CSV. So for the file format, you have to choose CSV. Okay, and once you do, now the next thing to do is to configure the feed. Now initially in our plugin, the whole product feed for Bonanza is configured properly. All you need to do is you need to configure the feed if there is any changes required. So for example, let's say you want to use the product short description instead of using the main description. So what you do is you click on this value, and from these options you can find product short description. So that's up to you what you want to assign, but by default we have already configured it so that you don't have to make much changes. Now there is one particular change that you have to make. As I mentioned, for the categories, Bonanza accepts their own categories only. The one that is configured here now is basically your stores category. So what do you do about that? So to set this up, what you need to do is you need to set up a category mapping. Let me just give you a glimpse of how that works. So on the left side, you see there is this option called category mapping. Let me just right click and open it in a new tab. And here you can see that you have all the categories in your store listed over here, and beside that you have an empty field. Okay, so now in Bonanza we have found out the category that I want my product to be listed on. So let's say if I had something for baby toys, then I would look for a category ID in Bonanza to include that category ID here. So let me just look for that in the Bonanza list. Let me just search by toys. And once I do that, you can see there are a lot of categories available for that. So if I don't find a particular one for baby toys, I'll have to choose another category, but you can see there is a particular category which says toys for babies. So as you see in my store, this category was called baby toys, but in Bonanza they call it toys for babies. Now what you can do is in category mapping, you can either copy this whole category and paste it there, or you can just copy the category ID and paste it there. I'll just copy the category ID, and once I'm on category mapping for baby toys, I'll paste it as the category ID over here. Okay, so just like that, for every other categories I have in my store, I need to use a valid mapping from the Bonanza list. So once I do that, I just have to name it. Let's say I'll name it Bonanza. Okay, and I'll just have to save it. If I scroll down, there's the option to save. I'll just have to save it. So for now, I've just inputted a value for one single category, but when you set this up, what you need to do is you need to set it up for all the categories you have here if you want proper category mapping to apply. Now once you've set up the category mapping, first go back to the product feed you're generating. Now before you can use the category mapping, you have to publish this feed. Let me just scroll up and let me click on publish. Now once I click on publish, you can see it's generating. There will be a loading bar here, and once it's generated, this page is going to reload, and you'll find this option to view the feed or download the feed. Now I already know that I have the wrong category inputted here because I've used my stores category and I just created the category mapping. So what you have to do now is first you need to purge cache. We click on that. Now once you did that, just scroll down, and for the category, click on the value and scroll to the very bottom, and you'll see that there is the name of the category mapping you just said, called Bonanza. You'll see this section called category map, and under that all the category mapping you said will be listed there. So let me select Bonanza here. What this will mean is that any categories that I have in my store, in this feed it will be replaced with the Bonanza category IDs that I set up. So now let me just scroll up and click on update. And there you go, the feed is generated. Now I know my feed is accurate. The next thing to do is you need to download this feed and go to your Bonanza booth and upload this feed, and all your products will be listed there. Okay, in case you have an error in your feed, Bonanza will notify you that okay, this is the reason the feed is not accepted. You can make those changes in your store or in the feed and upload it again. Okay, now let me just show you how this data looks when I view this with the CSV viewer. Let me just download the feed first. Now to view a CSV file, you need a CSV viewer or a proper spreadsheet program that allows you to import a CSV file to view it. So I'm gonna use Zoho Sheets to view this CSV file. Let me just go to File and Import Desktop URL. So I can choose it from my computer, and on Downloads I have the feed downloaded. If I click on Open, this will give me the options here. Let me just choose what's the delimiter. It's gonna be a comma delimiter. So next, I'll click on next, and I'll just choose replace the current sheet. So once I click on import, my data will be imported here. Just give it a few seconds. You can see I have imported my Bonanza feed into the spreadsheet, and all the data are listed here, which means this was generated in the right format. Now what I've done is I've only included one image. You can use multiple images if you want to. Now for the SKU and quantity, if you see these are blank, it's only because I didn't include them in my store. That's a test store. Now to submit your products on Bonanza, the SKU is not mandatory. If you don't need it, you can remove that. There's nothing wrong with that, but the quantity is a mandatory field, and what you need to do is you need to manage your stock in your WooCommerce to input a quantity. That way you'll have accurate quantity submission to Bonanza. But if you're not managing your stock in WooCommerce, then the next best thing you can do is you can manually input a static quantity for all products. As I told you, when I set up the category mapping, I set it up for one particular category, which was baby toys. Now in my store, there is only one product under baby toys, which is this one, Firewood Fire. And for that, I set a category mapping right here. Let me just show you. So this was the Bonanza category map that I set, and for baby toys, this is the Bonanza ID that I placed. So any products that are under the category baby toys, for them, the category in this feed will be this value. So as you can see in the spreadsheet, this product of mine is actually under that category, and for that the category is the mapped category that I used. Okay, so that's basically it. As you saw, I've generated the CSV. Now the next thing to do is download this feed and upload it to your Bonanza booth, and your products will be listed successfully on Bonanza. Alright, so that's it for this video. I hope you understood everything on how you can generate the feed, and then you will have a proper format of the product feed that you need to upload your product to Bonanza. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to our support team, and we'll be happy to help you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in one of my future videos. Take care.